Tyler Bozak. He is a guy that the Toronto Maple Leafs cultivated and really formed into a solid NHL hockey player. But today, we're talking about Tyler Bozak in a little bit of a different way. Because his NHL career has gone down a path where, after spending 3 seasons with the St. Louis Blues as an important part of their Stanley Cup victory in 2018-19, Bozak is now a free agent. And at 35 years old, we have ourselves some debate as to where Tyler Bozak could end up for the 2021-2022 season. Now today, we're going to be going over 2 Sportsnet articles. One is Elliotte Friedman's Quickie article from 2 days ago. The other is a piece from Luke Fox talking about the top 10 remaining UFAs on the market. I am recording this video on the evening of Friday, September 10th, and we're going to upload it sometime tomorrow morning at about 10 a.m. PST, or PDT, I should say, on Saturday. So if this is not accurate anymore, if there is a signing made with Tyler Bozak and he is no longer available to any of these 2 teams, and I apologize. But if you're watching this video, it is likely because there has not been a contract signed yet, and we're just trying to stir the pot as to where things could end up. So our 2 pieces today, it is indeed the Sabres re-engaging interested teams after meeting with Eichel's representatives article. This is what Elliotte Friedman writes about Tyler Bozak in the bottom of the piece. Finally, a couple of clubs indicated they were expecting Tyler Bozak's decision on where to play in the next few days. The 764-game veteran has a couple of options. I wonder personally if one is Pittsburgh, with both Crosby and Malkin injured to start the year. Next up, on to Luke Fox's piece right here, the top 10 UFAs remaining, the latest rumors and reports article over here. Tyler Bozak is indeed the 9th player listed on this list. 35 years old, a center, he's making $5 million last season as a cap hit. Of all the UFAs unclaimed by September, none averaged more points per game in 2021 than Tyler Bozak. Most recently, a third-line center with the Blues, the dependable but aging two-way pivot is in for a significant pay cut. Still though, Bozak is a Cup champion who should still be able to kill penalties, win faceoffs, and chip in on bottom 6 scoring. While buzz around the potential landing spots have been quiet, the Montreal Canadiens should at least take a look in light of Philippe Danault's departure to LA. And if St. Louis finds a way to unload Vladimir Tarasenko, perhaps there is a clearer path to keep Bozak in the fold. Both sides have interest, but money, as ever, is an issue. Bozak is still in St. Louis, according to local reports, skating with some of his 2020-2021 teammates. Included in the article is a tweet here from Dan Kramer. I would gladly spend the last of our $1 million cap space for the Habs on a 1-year Tyler Bozak contract. Dvorak is your Danault replacement. Bozak can fill in for Kotkaniemi. More production, and both additions can kill penalties. So this is our idea here today. Tyler Bozak, the most productive remaining free agent on the NHL market right now. Could Pittsburgh or Montreal be a fit? Let's talk about it here in this video. So Tyler Bozak, as we noted earlier on in previous parts of the video, March 19th, 1986, he's 35 years old, 6'1", 198, a right-handed center who can pretty much play all over the ice. We call him Tyler Bozak because Bozman was kind of a nickname that Steve Dangle coined for him ever since his days with the Toronto Maple Leafs, and trust me, there were a lot of days with the Toronto Maple Leafs. He was an undrafted free agent, signed out of the University of Denver system by the Maple Leafs, and he made himself an immediate impact with that team. He was a consistent 35-plus point guy, reaching upwards of 55 points in 2017, but he had made his debut significantly earlier, as his first season with the Maple Leafs was 2009-2010. He maxed out at 55 points, 23 goals in 2014-15, and then he made his way over to St. Louis, signing a 3-year, $15 million contract back in 2018-19. The Leafs just let him go because, cap issues, Marner, Matthews, Nylander, all that stuff. It's a big deal in Toronto, and sure, I get it, those negotiations didn't really go on in this time frame, but you still had yourselves what was the early stages of that Maple Leaf saga starting to open up. But Bozak made his way over to St. Louis, was a Stanley Cup champion, had 38 points in 72 games as his peak year with the Blues. This year, though, 17 points, 31 games played, 5 goals, 12 assists, and half a point a game in the postseason. If you do the math on Bozak's overall production this year, 17 divided by 31 multiplied out by 82, he would have been on pace for 45 points, which is really good, actually. And he would have been on pace as well for about 13 goals, so he was a lot more of an assist guy this year compared to some others. However, 13 goals is kind of in the ballpark of where he would usually be in regular seasons anyway. Either way, though, Tyler Bozak, as all the articles have talked about, is a very capable NHL player who, in the bottom 6 of any of these good teams, could probably go out there and put up 30, 35 points, maybe a little less than that if you're not too lucky. Bozak is definitely not going to get something in the realm of $5 million a season, but he still will be a fairly capable, two-way penalty-killing guy who can also chip in on some power play production once in a while if you need him to. Montreal and Pittsburgh are two teams that could honestly go out there and actually try if you really wanted to. For Pittsburgh, as Friedman noted, no Crosby, no Malkin starting out the season. If you're going to put one of these guys on the LTIR, it does indeed open up a boatload of cap space to sign a guy like Tyler Bozak, for example. Now, it is a little bit of a difficult situation because you don't really project Malkin or Crosby to being out for the entire season, just for a period at the beginning here, which would allow the team to go out there and have some extra LTIR space to spend over the cap. But what's going to happen when Crosby or Malkin come back? Do you send somebody down to the AHL? Do you try to get the cap savings done with some of the one-way contracts you do have? There is indeed going to be a little bit of maneuvering done to make things work into the postseason, because let's face it, the Penguins are probably going to make the playoffs. It's the Penguins, for crying out loud. They're going to want to see Tyler Bozak if he does well in a Crosby and Malkin-less Penguins team lineup. They're going to want to see him suit up in the postseason as well, which is definitely going to make things a little bit more complicated. But Tyler Bozak, while not being a Crosby-level player, is definitely going to be in the tier of maybe being able to at least compete in a top 6 role, because, I mean, they've been working with Tyler Bozak as a de facto top 2 center in Toronto for such a long time that I don't think he would be unequipped to play top 6 minutes again. But when it comes to the Montreal Canadiens, they're in a little bit of a different position. If he heads over to Montreal, it would be a really interesting little thing there, because he would be good enough to probably play somewhere in the middle 6. He would be probably the 3rd best center on the team, if you want to say that he's better than Jake Evans. But if there is an injury to one of Suzuki or Dvorak, he would be a pretty suitable replacement to get those minutes for however long Dvorak or Suzuki would be out. It all just comes down to a debate as to whether or not you would say you would rather have Bozak on your team instead of Ryan Poehling, because if you're getting Bozak on the squad, you're most likely getting rid of Poehling, you're moving him to the wing, you're sending him down to Laval, whatever. There are a ton of options over here. But ultimately, a center core of Suzuki, Dvorak, Bozak, and Evans, if you want to say it like that, or maybe play Bozak on the 4th line just because, you know, the Canadiens like to roll out all lines equally, it could be a pretty interesting kind of maneuver there. So honestly, from the way everything has been laid out here, I do think that Bozak with the Habs would be not only a better fit for Bozak, because he would be getting more sheltered minutes, I guess you could say, because come on, the guy's in his mid-30s. It's not like he's going to be able to play like 18, 19 minutes a night for 82 games, right? Maybe keep him in that 14, 12, 13-ish kind of range instead. Especially if you sign this guy to maybe a $1 million, $1.5 million deal, he's not really going to be going out there with the expectation of being a legit top 6 center. It's just, of course, if you're Tyler Bozak and you're like, man, I want to play more. I want to go into a team that actually has an opportunity for me to step up and be the best version of myself. Try to maybe set some new career highs, because my last year with St. Louis wasn't even all that bad. Then maybe Pittsburgh is the team while Crosby and Malkin are out. It's just kind of unfortunate that they don't have Kessel anymore, because, hey, having Bozak reunited with Kessel, man, that sounds fantastic. Isn't it kind of funny how the entire Matt Sundin era was spent trying to find a number 1 winger for him, and then the entire Phil Kessel era, the next time in Toronto, was spent trying to find a number 1 center for him, and Bozak, they tried him, they wanted him to be that guy to play with Phil Kessel, and while it was okay, it wasn't really like, you know, the best pairing in the world you could have asked for. Plus, I mean, there was Nazem Kadri and JVR and that entire thing going on over there. Yeah, Leaf stuff. It's funny how that goes down, especially with Kessel as a former Penguin as well. But either way, Bozak could actually have himself a pretty good role should he go over to the Penguins, although I am concerned about the planning that is going to be made after Crosby or Malkin return, because, I mean, hey, Crosby's making $8.7 million, Malkin's making $9.5. Definitely not insignificant numbers right there. They're both over 10% of the salary cap. So talk to me in the comments, what do you think about Tyler Bozak heading over to one of Montreal or Pittsburgh? Friedman suggests Pittsburgh could be the team. Luke Fox writes about how Montreal should be the team. Do you think those are going to be the teams? Do you think he just sticks around in St. Louis? And if so, how many points do you think Tyler Bozak gets next season? You gotta remember, last year he was honestly pretty alright. It's just he didn't play all the games. So, assuming he plays 82 games next season, what does Tyler Bozak's stat line look like? Talk to me in the comments, what do you think if you're a Habs fan, a Penguins fan, or a Blues fan? What's your thoughts on this? I hope you enjoyed this video. Rolls 99, and bye.